Hi everyone, my name is Stux. Welcome to my channel. Today we'll be taking a break from the usual recipe video and we'll be doing a bit of career talk. And I have a special guest in the house. So can we get to meet you?
Yes, hello everyone. I am Kenneth Okosun. I come from Edo State, Nigeria. I did grow up in Lagos and spent most of my life in Nigeria. Grew up in Lagos. I was in Ondo State briefly for my bachelors, and currently I work as a doctoral researcher at the Forschungszentrum Jülich. And also it counts as a PhD program. So I'm working as a doctoral researcher, and eventually I would get my degree from the RWTH, or in English, I would say RWTH Aachen University. So I'm happy to meet everyone and looking forward to the discussion today.
So what influenced your interest in your field?
Yeah, I mean, if we talk about it from my bachelor's, I would say it's a bit of personal interest and also where life threw me to. Initially, I did apply or my first choice for JAM then was civil engineering, FUTA. And that was the part that I was going before, it was my first JAM. After I did like the JAM, then I think then we still had, what do they call it, post-UTM in the university. And my grades were not all that, high enough for the engineering program. Then I had to consider changing course. And I did change to applied geophysics then. And strangely, I did not know so much about geophysics because, it still sounded strange to me, geophysics. Not something you hear, in Nigeria, I hear medicine, engineer. Those are the three stuff. Maybe now things have changed, hear things like content creation. Yeah. Back to the point, So I did, then I spoke to my brother. He told me more about, the geophysics program, and I really had interest to know more about the Earth. It was something that really fascinated me when I thought about space. I thought about minerals. I thought about, water and how water comes out. I thought about oil and gas and all of that. And so this was basically what pushed me and led me to geophysics, studying the Earth basically.
Okay. And can you give a summary of how your stay at FUTA was?
Oof. Yeah, I would say, it was nice. How many years? I think 4 or 5 years,
5 years.
It was really nice. I met a lot of people. That's always something you keep, right? Sometimes it's not always about the grades and all of that. It's the people you meet and, the quality time you spend while at the university. Not to say that my grades were not good, but of course, it was nice. I really, got that, would I say, independence, or planning myself by myself. There's nobody telling you, do this, do that, and you just have to arrange yourself, manage your time, and aside schoolwork, I think I was involved at some point a little bit of politics in 300 level, which was interesting.
At departmental level?
Yeah, at departmental level,
So what positions?
I was in they call it the parliamentary part of this. I was a speaker. I was representing. I was representing the geophysics constitution, or the geophysics department in that case. So it was at the faculty level, So, and then there was church, of course. I was at some point, different positions and all, and. Then there was also, I think, in 500 level where I had to represent the school at competitions, and which was also nice. All of those things, right, just shaped, the experience, and for me it was worthwhile.
That was great. You really had a balanced school life.
I tried. There's still other parts of it, right? There's the social life where I would not go into that.
Okay, I think we're okay with that for now. So what happened next after your bachelor's?
Yeah, after my bachelor's, that was in 2019, right? The graduation was in December. I think 2 weeks after, I already got like a position somewhere in in Lagos, so it was probably no break for me, but it's good because it meant money. So yeah, money. But yeah, so I did get a position at a maintenance firm, Anchor Crane Nigeria Limited, then, and I spent about, you know, I think maybe probably 4 months before COVID happened, and everybody had to be indoor, and it was a different role, different from, of course, what I studied. And I mean, the first 2 3 months, I felt, what am I doing? Because I did not even know like what they were doing. I'm like I was struggling to actually, get up to speed with what they were doing and all of that. But at some point, I would say I, caught up with it. And from there, I think I worked there for 9 months, and straight I transitioned into my master's degree, which, yes, is another story, of course.
So your master's was on what, or what?
Yeah,
What
so my master's was in petroleum engineering, and it was a position in Russia. And yeah, I guess it's quite often that people ask me, how did you come about Russia? How did you get there? And I think it was just, it was the first scholarship opportunity I was applying for. Then, lockdown, just at home, I saw this stuff, and, petroleum engineering. I mean, then I'd really, because my bachelor's thesis then was something related to petroleum science. So I really wanted to like go further and, learn, something different, something more international. And eventually the option came, the position came, and I took it. And yeah, that was how I found myself there doing the masters, and yeah, in Russia.
So what can you say about studying in Russia? What do you enjoy most about your stay and study in Russia?
Yeah, so first of all, I think my stay in Russia was brief. So the masters was for 2 years. But I did spend like 1 year in Nigeria studying online because of COVID. There was travel restrictions and stuff like that. So yeah, and it was the second year I was able to travel. And I don't know if there's much to say, but yeah, I really did enjoy most part of it. When I arrived, I think interacting with people, that was when I realized that, there were like so many things that I did not know, like a lot of information, because then you're just in front of your laptop on Zoom. And after the classes, you're doing assignments, like you really don't get to interact with people. Then when I got there, I knew that there was something like a red diploma where, you could, if you have all A's or straight A's, I think maybe few B's, you get the red diploma. Then if you have like a C or something, you get the blue diploma. And with the red diploma, you can, apply for, other things, like if you want to stay and stuff like that. But then for me, it was already late. So I took my blue diploma with, with pride, yeah. And yeah, aside that, the people were nice. I mean, at some point, it felt a little bit creepy, when they see a black person and they're like, oh, when you go to a museum and you see, that was the way it was. But I mean, at some point, I think we just got used to it because we were like about 3 or 4 that also traveled together from Nigeria. So
The same program?
no, different program actually. No, it's only one in petroleum engineering. So yeah, overall my stay was nice. The winter was quite harsh, of course. As you
I
would
could say
expect.
that because the cold in
Yeah.
Russia is
It's
a bit.
it's interesting because I mean they tell you wear jacket, wear this, wear that, but there's nothing you want to wear when you're out for long. You feel it. I mean even through your gloves, through your jacket, your nose, your your eyes, and it gets really windy sometimes. And I remember some of the days because interestingly when I went. Because of there was still, I mean, my supervisor was quite, weary of COVID, stay indoor and all of that. And then I was just doing research. I could even work on my laptop and just, do some stuff. But then on Sundays, where we had to go to church, that was like the real challenge. It's like, we are going on a mountain. This is how you're walking. And wind is just blowing. And it's like, but yeah, it was cool overall. And yeah, the language was another thing. I mean, there's basically so many things to unpack. But yeah, overall.
So what was the highest temperature you can recall when you were there?
Yeah, the lowest was probably minus, I think it got minus 22 degrees.
Oh,
yeah. And frequently it was like minus 10, minus 16. Like that was like the normal. I mean, when it's like minus 1, minus 3, it's like this is hot today. Yeah, for us it's like wow, the weather is nice today. When it's 0, it's like wow. Yeah, so
I can't relate. So now you're in Germany. Can you give us an intro into your field of study, what you do exactly?
Yeah, so I think a good way to introduce it would be I am in the Institute for Climate and Energy Systems, or I think it's systems. Yeah, ICE, that's what they call it. Not the, obviously, the Germans know that the train that is never on time, they call it ICE. But yeah, R stands for Institute for Climate and Energy Research. And basically what I am working on particularly is on carbon capture and storage. So it's basically capturing CO2 from the air and trying to store it. So I'm not looking at it from like a mechanical, technical background. I'm looking at it from a system point of view, looking at the potentials countries have to capture CO2 and to store them. And yeah, that has been it so far. So basically in my team, we have like a lot of people doing stuff on hydrogen and CO2 renewables and yeah, stuff related to energy and climate, basically.
That's quite interesting to know, but from what you said earlier, you said your MSc was on petroleum engineering.
Yeah,
so why the switch and what is the relationship between both?
Yep. I would not say, I mean, if you look at it holistically, it would probably not be a switch because, I mean, in the end, the goal here would be to capture CO2 from the atmosphere and store it somewhere. In this case, underground, which is the geological part of it, right? But then, obviously, if you consider what I am doing, like looking at it on a system level, it's more on, you know, putting in this amount of energy, looking into the effect on climate and seeing how everything, you know, comes together on a cost level. So it's more like I did switch, yeah. But yeah, I mean, of course, my background in geoscience is still relevant for this position, yeah. And yeah, I mean, I guess it's also something that was really of interest for me because, I mean, obviously it's like, you know, the world is going to end, we need to capture CO2. So yeah, that was, I mean, it's something that, you know, is really of interest to me. And I just saw the position. I said, oh, I think I can do it. And I think I have the interest. So that's how I found myself. Yeah.
So can you enlighten us on the career opportunities in your area of research?
I think I mean, when you ask me this question, I struggle because then I'm coming from geophysics, petroleum engineering, you know, systems analysis. Now it's like I have branched into so many things. And if you ask me career opportunities, I'll say, oh, it's wide. Like they always say in Nigeria. But I think most people that, at least from my institute, people that leave, they typically go into like consulting. So they join like firms and they go into, you know, maybe like an energy consultant or stuff like that. For me, I'm still not quite sure if I would stay with the whole, you know, system analysis. I would just go back to like geoscience, like petroleum geoscience. Yeah, but of course, I'm open to like doing anyone, but then still like a consideration, yeah, if I would stay in this role. So yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, so based on your experiences in both countries, what can you say are the challenges international students or researchers face?
Yeah, I think I already mentioned one, and something on information, right? And I mean, we could also link it to communication because yeah, studying in a country where you do not speak the language can be challenging because most of the things will probably not be in English and you have to translate every single thing. And yeah, I mean, again, conversations, right? You know, if you're in Nigeria, if you're in an English speaking country, people are speaking and you can just catch one thing from what they're saying that is related to, but in this case, you're just on your own. And the only reason they will switch to English is if you like go into the conversation, and from there you already lose, one or two information that you could, have gotten from just listening. So basically you have to ask. You have to ask for everything. You have to ask why this, why that, what this, what that. You really need to communicate a lot. And yeah, I would not even say I'm the best in doing that, but you really just have to do it. You have to try and communicate and, get information. So yeah, I would say that is one thing. I think there are people also that, talk about being lonely, missing home and stuff like that. And in my master's, I had like a community, which I feel like it was quite nice. So I was also attending a Redeemed Church there in Moscow. And again, I mentioned that we had like people that traveled together, so we were our community. But right now in the PhD, I feel like I have so much work that I don't even remember that I'm alone. So it's like there's always something to do, and sometimes when you sit down, that's when you remember that no, I've not spoken to people. Or when you go to church, it's like sorry. Wow, you can really communicate with me. So yeah, that's it. I mean, there are people that really, miss that home, and it can be really challenging. I mean, the work demand can be crazy. You have so many things that you can be doing at the same time, right? Like 5 or 6 things, but you just have to pick one and try and keep going, and just getting that motivation to continue to push. And I would say, I mean, it is one of the things that you really have to, pick something you have interest in. If not, you're not going to make it because it's going to push you. Really hard. Yeah.
I think interest matters a lot in PhD because you have to fall back to the drawing board and
Yeah. I mean, there's always the, when you start very optimistic, I will do this, I will do that, I'll change the world, I will, But when after 1 year, it's like, let me just finish. I think I just want to finish, because obviously, I mean, that's why they employ you, right? Because there's a challenge to solve, and sometimes it's like, in between trying to get data, trying to, get, a method that works, trying to, speak with people, it can just be a lot. And for my position, I have just 3 years. And in that 3 years, you're supposed to, do a literature review, do your research, write your thesis, write papers, attend conferences. I mean, it's a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So, what can you say living and studying in Germany has taught you? Just one thing you want to share with us?
I think one thing for me that I would say I struggled with a bit is like trying to manage. I mean, trying to have a life, right? Aside like the PhD thing, it's just like, I mean, there's always, like I said, there's always so much to do. So you can just work 365 days in a year, 24/7, and at some point it's basically begins to affect you. It begins to. I mean, your energy reduces, your brain processes things, reduces your brain capacity, and everything like that. And I mean, you could liken it to, Microsoft, when you have a laptop and you have so many tabs and the laptop is old, that's the way, you just begin to lag, and it's like, you need to do something different. So I think that's one thing that I am trying to, incorporate, I mean, your research will always be there, right? You can go and come back to it. Don't just stay buried inside. And Germany has been nice. I mean, also gives you the opportunity to plan vacations and travel around Europe at least, which is a way of, relieving stress. I mean, you just go to a place and, for 1 day, 1 week, you're able to just calm yourself down, close your laptop and come back feeling recharged. So yeah, that's one thing.
So what advice can you give to those watching you now who want to go the research route or who are out there looking for study opportunities abroad?
Don't do it. Yeah, I mean, that was just on the light note. I would say, obviously, if you have the heart for it, then go for it. I mean, it's quite different from, for example, from my background, from where I'm coming from, Nigeria. There is a bit more technical work to do. But then if you feel like, you really have passion for it, obviously I would advise you, like, do a master's. Master's is always like you test it first, then if you really want to go for it, then you go for it. I mean, there are lots of opportunities in Germany, even at my institute, for PhDs. It's always like they're always looking for PhDs. So if you have the heart for it, go for it. And of course, it's going to be challenging. I mean, everybody's challenged in my office. A bunch of challenged people. But yeah, I mean, easy is boring. That's the goal, right? To push yourself and to see how you can, get new solutions that could fill in, research gaps. And another person would basically continue from there, or, that's basically the idea.
So can you reintroduce your institute to those watching? Okay.
Yeah, so I work at the Forschungszentrum Jülich, and yeah, my institute is the Institute of Climate and Energy. So there are other ones. I think there's bioenergy, there's something related to agriculture. Not sure now, but because I'm like in the office once a week. But yeah, basically there's one on supercomputing, JSC. And yeah, so there are quite lots of opportunities. And if you want to check them out, you could check them out on Helmholtz job vacancies. So you see for all of the institutes in Germany, and you can basically filter based on if you want to do a PhD, if you want to do a student assistantship or a postdoc or your master's thesis. There are basically different locations where you could just apply directly. So that was what I did from Nigeria. And yeah.
So we'll be leaving the link in the description section. Ensure you check it out. So Scholar Ken, thank you for honoring my invitation and thank you for sharing the useful tips and your experiences.
It's my pleasure.
A warm welcome to everyone watching my video for the first time. My name is Stocks, and on this channel I upload yummy recipes, career talk, and other lifestyle vlogs. So ensure you subscribe and click the notification bell so that you can be notified each time I post new video. See you some other time.